Hi, Cosmic Hamsters here and welcome to Hamster Bites, the bite-sized podcast all about hamsters. So, after the last few episodes where we covered some of the basics of hamster care, including enclosures, bedding and wheels, today I want to talk about enrichment. This episode might help you if you are new to hamsters and wanting to learn what to put in your enclosure, or even if you have had hamsters for a while and are just looking to find something new to add to what you already have set up. First off, the main item I would say a hamster needs after a wheel is somewhere to sleep, ideally a multi-chamber house or enough hide for the hamster to sleep in. Multi-chamber hides give the hamster different areas to sleep, go to toilet and store food. It's meant to kind of replicate what they would do in the wild. If it's a heavy wooden one, you will want to put it on stilts so it's not just balanced on top of the bedding, especially if you are going to be placing heavy items on top of it. You can buy stilts to go with certain multi-chamber hides such as Getsu, Night Angel or Rodipet ones, or you could always just stick some long wooden dowels on with hamster safe glue such as Ponal, never know how to say that, spelt P-O-N-A-L glue, or another non-toxic wood glue. Some people make their own multi-chamber hides out of cardboard. If you're doing that, it will be light enough just to go on top of the bedding without stilts or legs. Just don't place anything heavy on top of it. Like with anything for hamsters, just make sure the entrances are at least 7 cm wide for Syrians and 5 cm for dwarf species. This is just so they can navigate through them easily, especially when their pouches are full. Next up, you might also want to buy or make your own platforms to put any heavy stuff on like wheels, sandbaths or ceramic hides. I actually have a tutorial on how to make your own platforms and I will link that in the description. If you are wanting to make your own, some good places to buy platforms are Happy Henry's Homes, Hope's Healthy Treats or Night Angel. Some people also use the IKEA Verriera, I think it's called, spelled V-A-R-I-E-R-A, which is a metal shelf insert, but it has lots of holes in it. It's a good idea to cover the top with something like cardboard or cork. And just in case you didn't know, the reason why it's suggested to put heavy things on platforms is because you don't want hamsters burrowing underneath heavy items, creating tunnels and everything collapsing on top of them. We don't want any squished hamsters. Then, it is recommended that all hamsters have access to a sandbath, unless a medical condition would prevent this for some reason. Some hamsters may use sandbaths to clean themselves in, hence the name bath. It helps to keep their fur looking shiny and healthy by removing any excess oils, and some hamsters may use it to go to the toilet in, which can make spot cleaning easy. And some may use it for both these things and some may not use it at all. Every hamster is different, and I have even noticed 2 of my older Syrians stopped using a sandbath when they got older. They would purposely start to avoid that area of the cage. I have no idea why. If anyone knows why, please do let me know. I don't think it was a mobility issue, as I made sure they could access the sand by just walking into it, as I put it on the same level as their bedding, and they would also go in one when free roaming. So I really don't know what that was about, bless them. Contrary to some information you may see online, it is perfectly safe to let your hamster have access to a sandbath 24/7. They aren't the same as chinchillas where you have to limit the time so it doesn't damage their delicate fur. Hamsters have different needs to chinchillas when it comes to bathing in sand, and I think over the years people have got confused and so information gets mixed up. Just make sure you are not using chinchilla dust or powder, as these are far too dusty and can cause respiratory issues. Also, for hamsters, you want to be looking for a calcium and dye-free sand. Some of the reptile desert sands are safe to use, and my personal favourite is the Komodo natural sand. Some people find using big packs of children's sand more economical, but you will need to cook it to make sure it's sterilised and dry, and some brands you may need to sieve, just to remove the larger, coarser sand. So, what size does a sandbath need to be? Well, remembering that the minimum recommended cage size is 100 by 50 centimetres, I have seen some people recommend using 1/3 to 1/2 of the hamster's cage as a sandbath, especially for robos and dwarfs because of the environment where they come from, in the wild. As far as I'm aware, these sizes are just made up and based purely on the areas the hamster would be living in the wild. Personally, I think the biggest sandbaths I have used have been around 35 by 23 by 6 centimetres, which, if I have done the maths right, was probably approximately 1/6 or 1/7 of the size of my hamster enclosures. In the future, I might try and fit in a slightly larger sandbaths, but I personally would rather just give my hamster a lot more variety in their cage, other than just sand. Just make sure whatever you are using for a sandbath is big enough for a hamster to roll around and dig in it. Which leads me on to, what can you use as a sandbath container? Well, people use all sorts. Recycled plastic containers, providing your hamster isn't a chewer. Cardboard boxes, these can leak, but I found if you put a layer of paper one way and another piece the other way, it prevents this. Some people use cat litter trays, baking trays, glass dishes, the bases of the small hamster cages, the ones that we all hate, or even purpose-bought sandboxes from companies like Book Estate, Getsu, Hope's Healthy Treats and Night Angel, to name just a few. I just want to emphasise strongly here, if you aren't putting the sandbath on the base of the cage, it will need to go on a strong platform, as sandbaths can get pretty heavy. I also recommend putting some sort of hide in the sandbath, so the hamster has a bit of cover for it to go somewhere safe if needed. This can help, especially if you haven't put hide in there already and you find your hamster won't use their sandbath. It can often make a difference. Next up, we have Digboxes. If you don't know what these are, they are basically containers with different substrates in which your hamster can have a dig around in and hopefully keep them busy for a little bit. If you find your hamster doesn't use them, try putting a few treats such as seeds or nuts in them for them to find. You can fill these dig boxes up with bedding that you already have, or other substrates such as beech chips, coconut chips, cork granules or coir, also known as cocoa soil. You can buy purpose-built dig boxes from places like Book Estate, Happy Henry Homes, Hope's Healthy Treats or Night Angel, or some people just use tin or glass dishes. At one stage, the cheap glass cookie jars from Asda were very popular in the UK. If what you are using is heavy, again, if they are on the bottom of your cage or enclosure, just make sure they are on platforms so no squished hamsters. As a really cheap and light option, I've used the square cardboard tissue boxes before. I just cut the top and fold and stick the bits down, then fill them up, and they're still really light, so it doesn't really matter if a hamster tunnels under them. As for the size, there really is no rules with this one, as long as there is enough room for a hamster to move around and have a good old dig. You will also want a few other hides dotted around the enclosure. These can be ceramic, terracotta, wooden or even cardboard. Making your own is absolutely fine. I have loads of videos on how to make your own hides out of cardboard mache, dowels and bendy bridges. I also show all the hamster safe products I use. I will leave links in the description to some of these videos. Some great places to buy hides if you own the UK are shops like B&M or Aldi's. They sometimes do ceramic bird feeders that are quite cheap but also safe and suitable for hamsters. Tea light holders can also be suitable, just make sure they don't have any holes in them for a hamster to get stuck. You could also look at shops like Asda and Poundland or even second-hand stores for these, and in the USA you've got the dollar stores. Then obviously you've got purpose-made hides, which places like Book Estate, Hope's Healthy Treats, Getsu, Night Angel, Rodipet or Trixie sell. You can also get different types of tunnels to help fill up the cage. These can be made from cardboard, cork, seagrass, terracotta, wicker, wooden or even make your own for free out of cardboard or cardboard mache. Yes, yet again I have videos showing you how to do this and I'll link them below in the description. And then to add even a bit more clutter, which just provides extra coverage so a hamster can hide and not feel so exposed, you can add other items like cork pieces, java or grapevine branches or bamboo roots. And then to provide even more different textures, you can add other items like grass mats and moss. You can put these on top of platforms or the bedding. Actually, moss is really quite good to fill in little gaps if you've got them on bendy bridges as well and stuff like that. Lastly, don't forget Boredom Breakers. These can be free to make out of cardboard and tissue, or you can buy purpose-made ones. I have several videos on making Boredom Breakers, and yes, once again, I will leave links in the description. My favourites to make are with some hamster-safe jute or sisal string. You can hang up some clean and sterilised pine cones or empty half walnut shells and add some food or treats inside them. The string costs about £1 or £2 and it just lasts forever. I think my favourite Boredom Breakers to buy are those little wicker or woven grass shapes where you can hide seeds and treats inside. When it comes to filling the cage enclosure up, I know some rescues might have a specific amount of hides, branches, tunnels, etc. that they will want you to use, and if you are adopting from them, you will have to adhere to their rules. But overall, I think a lot of it is just common sense. Aim to fill up the cage enclosure in such a way that your hamster has lots to do and explore, whilst feeling safe and secure, but still being able to navigate easily around its home. I see a lot of people in the hamster community saying a hamster needs X amount of hides or X amount of different digging substrates or X amount of tunnels, and if your hamster doesn't have all of this, then it's abuse. But as far as I'm aware, none of this is backed up by scientific research, but maybe just people's personal preference. As long as your cage is full and gives your hamsters lots to do, and they don't show signs of stress, boredom or being scared, then I think you will be along the right track with what you are providing for your hamster. The one time your hamster's home might look different to everything I have just talked about is if they ever have an illness or they are getting older, especially when nearing the end of their life. They might need things all on one level or less items so they can navigate easier and don't fall over and hurt themselves or get stuck. Right, this is the section where I turn it over to our community, and so over on our community posts I asked our followers what their favourite hamster enrichment items were, and both Joanna Shaw Crafty and Motionless Aimless said Digboxes. Brian Leach said tubes, boxes and a maze, and Hamster 100 very emphatically said wheel, and if not wheel then it was snacks. So yeah, thank you guys for participating in that. I love hearing people's responses. It's great, and we can share and spread that information out into the hamster community. Thanks guys. And if you haven't already, do feel free to let us know what your favourite enrichment items are for your hamsters. I hope you found this episode a helpful guide for when you are filling up your hamster enclosure. If you think I have forgotten anything, do let us know in the comments, but I will give you a heads up. I am including forage and sprays in the next episode, which will be all about food, so don't be thinking I have forgotten them. Till then, stay cosmic!